Hi everyone. Today we're talking about a new type of text structure which is called problem and solution. Our target today is that I can identify the type of text structure used in my text. And again, the one today is called problem and solution. The two things you'll need for our activity today are the article that looks like this. At the top it says fighting ice with cheese. And you'll also need a problem and solution diagram or organizer that looks like this. And it says problem and solution diagram at the top and has a bunch of boxes that look like this. You also might need something to write with like a pen or pencil. The first thing I'm going to do is read the story to you. If you've already read it or you want to read it on your own, just go ahead and skip until the part where you see me hold up the organizer that looks like this. Okay, now here is our story. Fighting ice with cheese. Wisconsin has come up with a cheesy solution for icy roads this winter by Cody Crane. Milwaukee, Wisconsin is road testing a new way to keep winter roads ice-free by spraying them with cheese brine. The salty solution is used to make soft cheeses like mozzarella. Wisconsin, nicknamed America's Dairyland, is famous for its cheese. The state produced 2.8 billion pounds of the stuff last year. As a result, there was lots of leftover cheese brine. Disposing of the brine can be expensive. So, what should cheesemakers do with the waste? Milwaukee may have the solution: spray it on roads. Okay, at this point, I bet you can hear one of our key words. I heard them use the word solution, spreading cheese brine on roads. So, what exactly is the problem? Well, it sounds to me so far that they have a lot of leftover cheese brine, which is stuff that kind of clings to the edges of their pots and pans while they're making the cheese, and it's really just garbage. They're going to dump it out, and it's really expensive to do that. So I bet we're going to read more about how they might use cheese brine in a new way that actually helps solve their problem. Let's go on to the next paragraph. Normally, towns use rock salt to de-ice the streets. The salt lowers water's freezing point, the temperature at which a liquid turns into a solid, causing ice to melt. But using cheese brine could help both cheese manufacturers and cities save money while keeping roads safe. So I've kind of heard two more things that can help with their problem and solution. It sounds like using this leftover cheese brine that nobody wants, if they take it and put it on the roads, it will help them save money, and it will also keep roads safe by not having as much ice. Cheese brine has salt in it, which, like the rock salt, helps lower water's freezing point. Green alternative. In addition to being more economical, cheese brine could also be a more eco-friendly option to rock salt. Many people suspect that all the rock salt used every winter is harming the environment. Rock salt is made of sodium chloride, the same compound, a substance made of two or more chemically combined elements, in ordinary table salt. So, like the salt and pepper you use when you eat, that's all that they're spreading on the roads right now, but when you spread so much of it, it actually does harm the environment and kill plants. But while you probably add no more than a pinch of salt to your food, road crews spread about 20 million tons of salt on U.S. roads every year. The chemical washes off roads and seeps into the ground. There, it can pollute drinking water, harm plants, and erode soil. By spraying a coating of cheese brine on streets before adding a layer of rock salt, Milwaukee may be able to cut its rock salt use by 30%. Smelly solution? This isn't the first time Milwaukee has tried out something other than rock salt. In the past, it has experimented with a product made from molasses and one made from beet juice. The first stuck to people's feet, and the second turned into an oatmeal-like goop inside de-icing trucks. That doesn't sound like a very good solution. Cheese brine has a downside too. A very distinctive odor similar to that of curdled milk. Okay, so if you've ever sniffed a bottle of milk when it's expired, that's what this cheese brine smells like. So imagine driving down the road and smelling that after they just put it down. Okay, here's a quote from someone who smelled it. "I don't really mind it," Emil Norby told Modern Farmer magazine. He works for one of Wisconsin's county highway commissions, and he came up with the idea of using cheese brine. "Our roads smell like Wisconsin," he said. Other cities across the U.S. are interested in using cheese brine as well. It could be coming to a street near you soon. Do you think people in your neighborhood would take to a cheesy smell as well as Wisconsinites? Okay, that's our story. Now I'm going to go back to my organizer And the first thing I'm going to do is put my name, the title of my story at the top. Hey, let me make my screen smaller so you can see what's behind it. Okay, here I typed in my name, Mr. Hora, and the title of my book or article is Fighting Ice with ... cheese ? Okay, now as we were reading the story, I was doing some thinking aloud and pointing out to you some questions, or sometimes when I maybe saw some things that looked like a problem or a solution. So the problem in this story, and it tells us right in the very first paragraph, is that these cheese-making companies have lots of leftover cheese brine, which I told you earlier is the leftover junk that is stuck on the side of their pots and pans after they've made the good cheese. What do they do with it? Well, nobody wants to eat it. It smells gross, like curdled milk. You're going to throw it in the garbage. But wait, they think they have something else they can do with it that will save them money and that will help keep roads safe. Remember reading that in one of the very first paragraphs? So, on our chart, we are going to write, and let me zoom in a little bit closer here. That was really close. Sorry, hang on. Okay, up at the top where the box says problem, the problem that we found was there was leftover cheese brine, B-R-I-N-E. Write that in your problem box. Okay, now, the next part says goal, and it has 3 boxes, event 1, event 2, and event 3. So while we were reading, I was kind of thinking in my head of some different ways people tried to solve the problem of what to do with this leftover cheese brine. And at the same time, how can we make our roads a lot safer and not have as much ice? So thinking about those things, let's see what I came up with for my 3 events. Now, you maybe had something different, which is totally fine. Don't erase your boxes if you do. But maybe you want to add some of mine if you have some room. Okay, let's start with this box, event number 1. Okay, one of the first things I remember reading about was that salt in the cheese melts the ice. And that's what got them thinking of using cheese brine in the first place. Cheese brine has salt. Salt melts the ice. Let's use cheese brine to melt our ice. It's kind of like a cause and effect, actually, even though today we're talking about problem and solution. So in event number 1, that box, we'll write salt in cheese melts the ice. Again, if you had something different in that box, that's okay. Do not erase it. But you can maybe add this just on the edge of your paper somewhere. Okay, now I'm thinking about what I read next in my story, going down the page, and I remembered seeing, let me see if I can hold it up for you to see, this heading here that says green alternative. So what was important in that part of my story? Well, basically that part told me that the cheese brine won't harm the environment. It's not really bad for it like the rock salt is that we use on for eating. Cheese brine is a little bit better for the environment. So for event number 2 in that box, write cheese brine won't harm the environment. Again, if you had something different, that's okay, don't erase, but just add this in on the edge somewhere. Okay, now I'm thinking about, as I kept reading my story, what did I read about next? And here's another benefit of using the cheese brine. It may help cut the rock salt use by 30%. May help cut rock salt use by 30%. Go ahead and add that to event box number 3. Don't erase yours, it was different. Okay, so now I'm going to zoom out again. And here's what our paper looks like so far. Our problem, they have leftover cheese brine. Here's 3 reasons why we could use cheese brine to help us solve all this ice. Salt and cheese melts the ice. Cheese brine won't harm the environment. And number 3, it may help cut rock salt use by 30%. So my solution, after thinking of all these things, or my resolution actually, is use cheese brine to keep roads ice-free. Go ahead and add that to your bottom. Yours is actually a triangle shape resolution. Use cheese brine to keep roads ice-free. And now that I've done my whole organizer, actually, I'm thinking before I am done, I might need to add something to our problem box. Not only is it a problem to have all this leftover cheese brine, but the cities are having a problem with using too much rock salt on ice. So I'm going to add that to my problem box. So I'm still thinking of my problem and solution even though I'm done almost with my whole paper. Okay, so now here's what my problem box looks like. So the next time you're reading a story and it looks like a problem and solution, you'll want to think, what is the author telling me is the problem here? And what are some reasons they're giving me or some ways to solve that problem? And when I'm all done reading, what do I think the author told me was the best way to solve that problem? And sometimes it might be just one way. Sometimes, like in our story, we actually had two problems. Remember, our target today was that we could identify a type of text structure in our story. And today, we talked about the text structure of problem and solution. This is the end of our problem and solution video. Thanks for watching.